Hi everyone. Okay, so this is part 2 of the 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 mini album. So if you've not seen part 1, how I showed you how to make the outer cover, there will be a link underneath this video linking you back to this. So for today, I'm going to start doing the pages that are going to go on the left and the right hand side of the album. So I'm going to start with the left first of all. So the first thing I'm going to do, now I'm using 12 by 12 white cardstock, but you can do this from A4. I've just got this 12 by 12, so I thought I'd use it. So I'm going to cut this at 6 inches. And then I'm going to turn this and I'm going to cut it at 3.5. Twice. So that's 2 pieces that are 6 by 3.5. Then from the other piece of 6 by 12, I'm going to turn this, keeping the 6-inch side. I'm going to turn this and I'm going to cut this at 5 3/4. I'm going to do that twice. So again, I've got 2 pieces that measure 6 by 5 3/4. Then I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, and on the 2 that are 6 by 3, on the 3-inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And the 1/2 inch isn't always easy to get at, so what you can also do, because these are 3.5, is score at 3. As long as you end up with a 1/2 inch tab, you're fine. Now on the 2 that measure 6 by 5 3/4, I'm going to score at 1/2 and 3/4 on both pieces on the 5 3/4 side. Sorry, I just need to make sure I get my measurements right. So on the 5 3/4 inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 and 3/4. So that's those 2. So I'm just going to put the board on one side and then I'm going to fold. So you want to fold and burnish the score lines you've just put in if you're following along. And obviously this one has only got 1/4 inch in between it. So basically you're kind of making like a little spine or a gusset of 1/4 inch. So I'm going to do that again on the next one. So I'm folding on the 3/4 and then folding on the 1/2, and you're going to end up with 2 pieces. And for the left hand side of the album, these are going to be top and bottom. Okay, so like so. And then on the 2 that are 6 by 3.5, you're just going to fold on the 1/2 inch, and these are going to be left and right for the album. Now I'm just going to come back to the scoreboard and get another piece of paper. Again, I'm going to cut this at 6. This is 12 by 12, so I'm going to cut it at 6. If you've got A4 on your 11 3/4 inch side, cut it at 6. I'm going to pop that on one side. And then again, I'm going to cut these at 5 3/4 and I'm going to do 2. I'm going to make the same kind of thing as I made for the left hand side, but on the right hand side, they're going to work this way. So 5 3/4 and 5 3/4. And again, on the 5 3/4 inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 3/4. Going to pop this one in on the 5 3/4 inch side and score at 1/2 and 3/4. And again, I'm just going to fold on both the score lines and burnish. So they're going to open sideways. Now I'm going to take the piece of cardstock I've got remaining, which is 6 by 12. Again, you know, yours might be A4, it's entirely up to you. And I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to cut this down to 7.5. And then on the 6-inch side, I'm going to chop it down to 5. So it's going to be 5 by 7.5. I'm going to put it in my scoreboard and I'm going to score at every 1/2 inch up to 3 inches. So I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3. I'm keeping my strip. You want a strip that is 1 by 6. So this is 1 inch already. So I'm just going to chop this down to 6 inches. So I'm going to pop that on one side. And now I want 6 pieces that measure 5 by 3. So I'm going to start chopping mine from the scraps. But again, you could chop this from A4. So that's 5. And this is 3. So that's 1. That's 3. I'm going to get another piece of paper. I'm going to chop this down to 5. And then I want 3 more pieces at 3 inches. So there's 1. 2. And 3. And so the pieces that are 5 by 3, they can just go on one side for a minute, and this piece that is 1 by 6 can go on one side. So now you've got this piece with the score line. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to fold and burnish all these 1/2 inch score lines. Okay, so starting with this now, I'm going to fold over the first one, just make sure it's all nicely burnished. And I'm going to bring in my first piece that's 5 by 3, and that's going to stick on there, on that first 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. I'm going to use my wet glue for this, because I think it might be easier. Just going to apply some glue. And if you watch part 1, and I was saying that I was kind of covered in bits of glue, hand sanitizer seems to work quite well to get glue off your hands. So I'm just going to line up this 5 by 3 piece. And this is 5 inches wide as well, so it should all line up. You want to get the sides all lined up. So I'm just going to give that a burnish. Then I'm going to fold it down to the next one and do the same. And I'm going to repeat this all the way down until I've got all these 6-inch pieces in place. So I'm lining up the top left-hand corner first, and I'm just going to keep, you know, putting it down on its side, so I know that if this edge is all lined up, then this edge is all going to be lined up. So then I'm going to bring it forward again, put some glue, bring in my next one, line it all up, and because I'm using wet glue, it just gives you, you know, that little bit of wiggle room. I'm going to bring this forward. So this is what we've got so far. So then fold it back and burnish everything into place. Like so. Then this 1-inch by 6-inch piece is the piece that's kind of going to anchor it into place on the page. But this actually needs to be longer. I think I've cut this too short. I'm going to add a piece on and see if I can make it work. Okay, so this piece that was 5, I said 5 by 7.5, needs to be 5 by 9. This is the bottom waterfall. You need your piece of card here underneath to extend by at least 1 inch or 1.5 inches. And then let me fold it over and see. So that's fine. So what you need a piece that's 5 by 9, and then you're going to score at 1/2 inch down to 3 from the left hand side. So 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. And then you start by folding your first 1/2 inch tab over like I showed you, and stick your mats, and then you bring it all forward until you put your last one on, and then you've got this piece here left over hanging down. That's where you're going to eventually pull it from, and then you've got your piece, when I can get hold of it, that is 1 by 6. Okay, so that's the waterfall element that's going to go with the right hand side of the page. So now I'm going to bring in the album. I'm going to start doing the right hand side. So I want a piece of card for these to attach to. Now you could put a piece of pattern paper here and just put these down, but I'm going to put a piece of card just to give it an extra bit of stability. I'm going to bring in my trimmer and cut this piece of card down to 6 by 6. And I need 2, so I'm just going to chop this 12-inch piece in half, and it should give me 2 6 by 6 pieces. Now, because the album cover is 6.25 by 6.25, when I put these down, I'm going to have like a little bit of 1/4 inch all the way round on each side, and that's fine. That's what I want. Okay. So I'm going to put the album on one side and put one piece of paper on one side, and then I'm going to start with the flaps. So the 2 pieces that I cut at 6 by 3.5 are going to be attached to this piece of 6 by 6 like so, and that's going to form a little gatefold. So I'm going to put those on first. Again, I'm going to use my wet glue, so just put glue on the 1/2 inch tab, and I've just put my silicone mat away, but I want it. So this is going to line up with the edge like so, and I'm going to press that down, and obviously because it's wet glue it might move, so just make sure it lines up. You could put it on the back so that when you put this into your album, you're not going to see the seam. It's entirely up to you, but I am going to put some paper on this, so you're not going to see much of it. But the reason I'm sticking this one on the front is because I'm going to stick this one on the back, and then I've not got as much bulk all on the back of here. But you know, you do it however you want to do it. So now I'm going to do the same with this one. This one's going to go on this side. So I mean, a lot of the things that you use in albums are things that we use in card making. You know, this is kind of really only like making a gatefold card. So I'm going to put that down, stand it up. Doesn't matter if you've got a little gap in the middle. So that's what we've got so far. And then these are going to go on the back, on the top and the bottom. And the reason that I did these with the little 1/4 inch gusset is so that, you know, if you start matting and layering these up, you've got a little bit of room to play with. So the adhesive is going to go on the inside of this 1/2 inch tab. You know, again, you could use tape. You could use our Seal Plus. So I'm going to fold that over and I'm going to hook that over and position this on here. You don't want to go over the 1/2 inch score line. You know, you want it to, so that's going to come over like that from the top, okay? And then I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to pop the glue on the underside. Obviously, if you find a better way for doing this, then you do your way. I'm just kind of giving you the ideas, as I always say in any of my tutorials. I'm not an expert, I'm just giving you the ideas. Just going to make sure that's lined up. You don't want, as I say, to encroach over that line, so when it folds over, okay, so I've got my 1/4 inch gussets on the top and the bottom, and then I've got my pages like so. So that's going to be the left hand side of the book. So it will open like so and then open again. And you could keep on going, you know, you could put other things on the inside and on here. I'm just kind of keeping it quite simple. So that's going to go on there. So that's the left hand side. So now we want the right hand side. So again, I'm going to bring in my piece of 6 by 6. Okay, so just for clarification, 5 by 9 scored at 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 and 3. So that when this is folded over, this should be 6 inches. And this is 6 inches by 6 inches, and this is going to stick on here. Now, what you can do, obviously, dry fit it. So when you've done it, if for any reason yours hangs over a little bit, just trim it off. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this up, line up this bottom edge, and because this is 5 and this is 6, you should have 1/2 inch on either side. And you want to get your piece that's 1 by 6, fold your waterfall down, and this piece is the bit that's going to anchor this together. And you want it underneath your last waterfall, not the base, the actual waterfall card. Okay, and you're going to glue it down here and here, just on these 2 1/2 inch sections. You can mark it on the back at 1/2 inch if you want, so you know where to apply your glue, or you can just, you know, hold it in position and put some glue underneath it. It's entirely up to you. So I'm just going to put some glue on this back piece, just down to that 1/2 inch mark I've put on, which you probably can't see in pen, and again on here. And then I'm going to, I'll move my silicone mat. I'm going to position this so it's about central to my 6 by 6 piece. I'm going to lift up all the waterfall elements, and I'm going to slide this in so that it lines up edge to edge, but that you can't see it below that last waterfall. I'm just going to pick this all up and make sure that this is all central, and then just press down where that glue is. So this effectively will all slide out. The only bit where this band is stuck down is on those 2 half-inch sections. Obviously you want to make sure that you've got it completely level. And then I'm going to put that on one side to dry. And then when those 2 pieces are dry, this will slide back in. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that that dried enough. Okay, so we've got the 6x6 piece now with this piece that's 1x6 stuck at 1/2 inch on either side. I'm going to bring the waterfall back in and open it up fully and slide it back in to place and position it so it's central. So this is 5, this is 6, so it's central to the middle of the 6x6 piece. This is probably the most fiddliest piece of this album, but once you've done it, you'll know how to do it and it's fine. So that's in place now. So I'm just going to lift up these out of the way and I'm going to put glue in this section only, the 5-inch section of this band. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of make a mark with my glue and I know not to go past. And as I've said previously, it's not easy for me to see where I'm gluing a lot of the times without getting my head in the camera. So just to clarify, we've got the 1x6 stuck down at 1/2 inch on either end to the base piece, the 6x6 base piece. Slid the waterfall in and now I've applied glue in this 5-inch section of this 1x6 because now I'm just going to hold this down. I'm going to bring this whole thing back over and the last panel of the waterfall gets glued to that 1x5-inch section of adhesive. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it over and rub it from the back. And that essentially is the waterfall. And obviously you need to wait for it to dry. But then when you pull this bottom piece, this is what makes your waterfall work. Now obviously I've got a join in mine. You won't have a join in yours, but I'm probably going to put a piece of pattern paper over that, hopefully, so it probably won't, you know, hinder the working. But you won't have that problem, as say, just because I cut mine the wrong size. Then these are going to get stuck over this on the left and the right. So like on the left hand side of the album where they went top and bottom, these are going to go left and right. So again, I'm going to put some glue on this 1/2-inch tab and then I'm going to bring in my waterfall and stick this 6x6 panel to that 1/2-inch section. Again, now I've just noticed that my little 1x6 is just extending beyond that 6x6 by, you know, barely nothing, but I'm going to trim it down because that will interfere with the workings. Okay, so I've got my waterfall the right way up, I've got my adhesive on that 1/2-inch section, and I'm lining up these 2 pieces of 6x6. So that's going to come over like that. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. So essentially we've got the 2 elements now. So this is going to open up like so and come down and fold out. And then on this side, this one's going to open left to right or right to left. And then this is going to pull down like so. As I say, mine isn't moving as smoothly as it should. I'm hopefully going to rectify that with a piece of pattern paper. So I'm going to stick this piece down now to the left hand side of the inside. And as I say, this is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 and this is 6 by 6. So I'm going to bring in my double-sided tape. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the edge all the way around, and then I'm going to use glue as well. And if you use a block or something like this, it will just break it off with a straighter edge for you. So I'm just going to burnish this all down. Making sure I keep this in the right orientation. I'm just going to fold back on all 4 pieces like so, and then I'm going to cover this in wet glue. Now I'm just going to put wet glue all on here. Bring my album back in. Make sure I've got it in the right orientation and that I've got the gussets folded. And then I'm going to position this, and because I've only got the tape kind of peeled off in sections, I should be able to see that I'm getting it lined up. Once it's in place, I can pull the tapes out. Then I can open it up and I can rub it down. Gonna come back to my little Pazzles scraper and just spread that adhesive that's on the back all around, and that's one section in the book. Then obviously, you know, you can cover up, where's that piece of 6 by 6, you can cover up those seams with your pattern paper, but I'm going to get to decorating it in the next part. I just want to put the kind of, you know, the basics of it together. So now these open side to side, don't they? So I'm going to do the same, and then I'm going to need to attach some kind of a ribbon to this to make this pull in and out. And I think I will put a piece of paper or something over that join. So I'm just going to apply the adhesive and stick that down. And then I'm just going to give it a press all the way around. So that's what we've got now. So that's part 2. So you've got the flap that comes down, then these open out. And then on this side, you've got these that open out, and then you've got this that pulls down. I'm going to put probably a piece of ribbon on this for it to pull, and I'm going to put some paper, I think, over it in the hope that that makes this run a little bit more smoothly. So that's part 2. And then in part 3, it's just going to be decorating it with the designer series paper. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to come back and watch part 3, or if this is the first one you're finding, look for part 1 and part 3. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.